Meticulous documentation in medical records, whether it is essential in present era, is the topic of discussion today. This talk is jointly prepared by myself and Dr. Paras Mehta, who is an ophthalmologist and has manufactured the software which I am using, Crystal Hospital Management Software. Though I have no financial interest in the software sale or demonstration or anything. Now let's go to the basic need. We are all doctors. Why do we need documentation of the patient which we are examining? Is it important? When I started practice 28 years back, I would hate the question to ask patient, what did I tell you last time? What treatment did I advise you? What was your problem? Because if I am a patient and if doctor asks me on repeated visits, what did he tell me, or then I give minus point to this doctor. I feel he's not interested in my treatment. So that was the reason I started documentation way back in 1985, though initially it was manual records keeping. And over the years I realized that documentation is essential for good quality patient care. It allows you to have perfect diagnosis, because suppose you have missed some point, you can go back to your records and recheck and then correct your diagnosis. It allows you to assess the extent of damage, because again on the documentation you know the various factors and what damage patient has and what are the patient's apprehensions or what patients want. You can also judge the treatment response with the treatment what you have given, whether the patient is improving or status quo, or many times sometimes iatrogenic complications occur and you may make the patient worse. So this is easy to go through our documents and realize, and hence final outcome is better. From organizational point of view, documentation is essential for analysis, audit, and if you are academically oriented, for research purposes. Because unless you have proper documentation, you can't publish anything or you can't prove anything. So documentation is important from research point of view also. Auditing is primarily your own audit for your own analysis as to how well you are doing in your practice. May it be financially, may it be patient care or treatment care, or maybe you are inventing a new treatment, or to the existing treatment you have given some new thoughts, and only documents can help you substantiate these thoughts. So let's start with manual documentation, which I started with in my practice, and I am sure majority of our colleagues have still manual documentation. The advantage of manual documentation is that it's easy to practice, does not require any great infrastructure, and with a system set, it is not difficult to retrieve papers at every visit of the patient. However, once you become busy in your practice and you have daily OPD of 30, 40, 50, 60 patients, it may be difficult and time consuming to retrieve papers of patients instantaneously, and it may as well take one or two persons to put in that job, and probably may require one or two rooms for your records if you have more than thousands of documents there. So it occupies a lot of space, and as you know, space is also very expensive in the city of Mumbai, and it needs manpower to maintain manual records. So I think electronic records are the demand of time, though they cost money at present. For number one, a better software is expensive, and a faster recovery of your data and faster thing and better thing, you need a hardware which is very good capacity, and you need manpower, because in a busy practice you alone can't enter all data, you need manpower. So it is one time investment, but at the end it is cost effective. So what we are coming to is electronic medical records. They are at the simplest digital or computerized version of patients' paper charts, but if you are using it fully, they mean much more than this, and how we'll go through it. They contain information about a patient's medical history, diagnosis, allergies, medications, fundus photograph, OCT image, B scan, A scan, topography, you name it and you can have it, and many more things. They are like balance sheets of the patient. You have everything on plus and minus. It increases organization and accuracy of patient information. Benefits of electronic medical records are that it's more beneficial than maintaining paper records. It tracks data over a period of time. You know how patient is doing chronologically. You can identify patients who are due for preventive visits and screenings and probably send them message or email which can be generated through the system itself. You can monitor how patients measure up to a certain parameters and monitor your quality. It improves overall quality of care in a practice. The information stored in EMRs is not easily shared with anyone outside of a practice, so there is confidentiality to it. A patient's record is usually given printout at the end and delivered by mail to specialist and also to other members and to patients also. Electronic health records can help provider doctors make efficient, effective decisions about patients' care through improved analysis and communication of patient information. Clinical alerts and reminders can be set in support for diagnostic and therapeutic decisions. Built-in safeguards against possible adverse event. Now let's go through some of the parameters how softwares are important. Say for example, we have for example probably 2.5-3 lakhs case sheet in our medical records, and I am suddenly want to find a patient Kailas who is from Masjid Bandar. You can put these things and the like in a mobile phone or in Google search. It can search the patient's detail in probably less than a minute time. It helps me sometimes to impress patients when they tell that I had come to you, sir, but I don't know when. And they have come with some other patient, and you in less than 15 seconds tell them that you had come on this and this date. They are highly impressed with your organization, that you are working quite efficient. So this is, I think, one of the important feature. This is the page of demographics which helps you to have patient's name, birth date, age, who has referred you, billing instructions, etc., with email ID and many other things which help you to know about the patients and practice pattern. Also, you can have reminders or alerts put here, just as this patient is allergic to Ibugesic or Tropicacil Plus, it would come as an alert here, or a reminder that this patient has paid money or has some balance, etc. So when you open this case sheet anytime, this thing just pops out and you can't forget it. So it allows you to track patients better. Now this is the software SoapNote what we have. This is the screen wherein you have patients database here. You can title the case sheet here. It also gets registered with the time here, so the system knows what time this case sheet was generated. Here is patient's history, allergy, family history, medication, etc. Clinical findings here, fundus findings on this side. Now important thing is that it's better to have a Dropbox, because from Dropbox when you select, it's easy to search, because what happens is that somebody writes CME as one thing, or somebody writes C space ME, then the search would be difficult. So usually it's better to prepare drop boxes, and rather than write individual things in the boxes here, then analysis becomes more accurate. So you can have various case sheets name attached here. This could be post-op cataract day 1, this could be post-op retina or LASIK or whatever you want to, glaucoma or retina, whatever you want to put, you can put, because all these boxes can be analyzed and data analysis is possible. This is the page, I think, which is very important. It shows how many times patient has visited you, what are the things you have done. Like this patient, for example, has undergone fundus photo OCT on such date, and this would show the fundus photo OCT attachment here. This would show the attachment report of some other hospital. So overall, you know what is happening. This patient had called on such and such date, and this would record the conversation what was done on that day. So this page you can have attachment, conversations, voice record. You can scan patients reports or other people's reports. Say patient has got FFA done elsewhere or B scan done elsewhere. You can scan those images and record here. You can have also live images and videos directly captured from fundus camera or slit lamp, but unfortunately the industry does not give DICOM necessary for acquiring this, so that is at this moment difficult. If they give access to DICOM like they give in MRI or other places, this becomes very easy and very user friendly to operate. With the software you can have summary also generated, wherein you can select the data item what you want. Say for example you want to see this patient's IOP from this visit to this visit. You know that this IOP has never been high, or the right eye IOP was 30 here, it was high here, it was 28 here. So it gives you at a glance all the summary of all important data what you have recorded inside. So many times this is easy for patient to explain and understand. Say for example this patient has right eye vision, pinhole hand movement, and here vision is improving to counting finger. So you can show this to the patient and say that when you came to me your vision was only hand movement, and we have explained you the prognosis as you see here, and over a period of time you are gradually improving and your vision is improving. So for a learned patient, and today majority of young people are IT or computer savvy, they can realize in just a minute, and many times patients are angry they are not improving, they can understand they are improving, and you are transparent in your practice. Now this is how normally we generate a report and give it to the patient, that this our patients go out with this report when they leave the clinic, which would contain all the necessary information that this patient came with diminished vision since 5 days. He was referred by XYZ, his visual acuity was 6/9 N6, he had multifocal IOL, he had macula on retinal detachment with posterior horseshoe tear. He was advised vitrectomy for retinal detachment. Since patient had multifocal IOL, we had mentioned that we can try vitrectomy without buccal because this was a pseudophakic eye. So you can generate this for patient's report, and this may be of help to others when they see the patient as to understand what we have suggested. You can also generate graph like this patient's IOP with treatment has come down here, at one point it has increased. So these are the visits patients had, and you can monitor IOP this way. You can have visual acuity and also monitor this way. So these are different parameters you can do. Now I think this is an important feature. You can scan patient's documents. Say for example patient has done field of vision outside or has done investigation, laboratory investigations, etc. outside. You can scan and keep it in your store. So it remains important in future that you have done all these investigations, and it can also be shown here that you have attached these investigations here. This page also shows that patient has undergone FICO on this date and has undergone all the procedures are seen here. You can also have analysis of the data, and for this you can have various things. You can analyze data with clinical impression or various subheadings in the SOAP note. This is one example of right and left eye clinical impression of patients from 1st May to 31st May, and you know at length what are the diagnoses you have made. So various permutation combination are possible here. You can have attachment of fundus photograph, OCT and all those things from your, we normally export from fundus camera or OCT camera through LEN to our software and attach it into the patient. You can highlight documents. For example, this patient who has received Lucentis injection, you want to quickly go through the dates. You can make out that this red mark is Lucentis injection, that these are the dates patient has received Lucentis injection. Also you can mention operative note accurately. We maintain DVDs of all patients, so we usually would write down DVD number also of the patient. You can also attach videos of the patient into the software, but it would unnecessarily become too slow and it would require still larger space, so that is not what is usually done. You can generate a case summary of the patient and give a report to the patient, so whenever he goes for second opinion or third opinion, he knows what he has undergone and a detailed actual report is there with him. So electronic medical documentation is the need of time for better management of patient research and medico-legal purpose. from medical legal purpose, perfect and complete documentation of all patients rules out negligence in the court of law by and large, unless you have made gross error in your examination or judgment or that. Each case sheet has time and date mentioned on it, so nobody can change it, and it's a proof in court of law. Documents can be locked forever, so nobody can change or alter the document. Investigations done elsewhere when attached in the case sheet rules out negligence. Video recording of the patient's talk or counseling can be automatically done by the system, which can be helpful in time of dispute. However, one has to have consent of patient. Consent forms can also be attached to the case sheet. Follow-ups can be mentioned in the printout, and the system can send SMS or email for the same, and patient cannot tell you that I have never been called for follow-up. Thank you for your patient hearing.